Hello 7th grade, welcome to our first online reading class. Okay, today we're going to be talking about analyzing structures and relationships in literary nonfiction. That's a lot of stuff. So today, right now, what we're going to focus on is how to find an author's purpose in maybe a few quicker steps than usual. So, in order to find out an author's purpose, one thing we can do is we can take a look at the headings and the subheadings in an article or in the table of contents. A heading is a title that describes what information is in a section of text. So your textbooks have these all over the place. Headings are like at the beginning of a chapter. They're usually bold and a different color than usual and very big. And so they will, maybe in a science textbook, the heading would be the solar system. Subheadings, though, these are smaller. They're still bold, but they're smaller than the headings, and maybe you notice they're indented a little bit, which means they move to the right a little bit more than headings do. These are smaller titles that describe more specific information in a section of text. Okay, I'll sort of explain a little bit more what that means. Let's say that you open up a book and you see this in the table of contents. It says animals, dogs, cats, birds, plants, flowers, and trees. So, animals and plants, those are two very big categories. So, they're going to be our headings. Dogs, cats, and birds, those are three specific categories within animals. So, there are subheadings because they're more specific than our heading. Down here we have the same thing. Flowers and trees are each a certain type of plant. So because they're more specific, they are our subheadings. This is what it might look like in an actual article or on the page of a book. Up here you see we have the big heading, it says animals, and it does have a little bit of explanation about what the section is going to be about. Animals are all around us and come in many different shapes and sizes. Many people like to keep them as pets. The most popular animals to keep as pets are dogs, cats, and birds. Okay, so we've got our three categories. Let's go down here and we see dogs, cats, and birds are listed as the subheadings because they're the more specific categories. Down here we've got another really big, broad category, plants, and it has a little bit of explanation, but as we go down to more specifics, flowers and trees, we see some explanations of those categories down there. Now, trees goes a little bit off the page. That's just because I didn't quite have enough room. Okay, so I'm going to show you a few headings and subheadings in a table of contents, and I'd like you to guess what the author's purpose is, okay? So let's say you open up a book and there you go. This is your table of contents, those examples that we were just looking at. I'd like you to write in the Edpuzzle box that's coming up, what do you think the author's goal is here? Is it to inform? Is it to describe? Is it to persuade? Choose one of those. And don't worry too much if you aren't totally sure, this is just a practice one. Some tips that I would like to give you for figuring out a purpose. If a book or article has steps or dates for its headings and subheadings, for instance, if you open an article online and it says, its first heading says, Step 1, go to the sink, and then second heading says, Step 2, get a glass, Step 3, fill the glass with water. You have just seen a process explained for how to make a glass of water. So if it has steps, then it's going to explain a process, and we can guess that pretty easily. Now, if it has dates, it's probably going to tell us a story. For instance, if you open up your history textbook and one heading says, 1492, Columbus discovers America. And then a little bit farther down the page, it says in another heading, 1776, the United States gains its independence. You could you could guess that, yeah, this is going to be telling me a story. In fact, it's going to be telling me about history. Now, you might see an article or textbook that just has section headings, and that's just a fancy way of saying vocab words. So if you see for instance, a science textbook that says plants, stars, comets for its headings, then you can guess that, okay, this is going to inform me or describe to me something about plants, stars, and comets. So once again, if you see an article whose headings have steps or they have dates, then it's probably going to do this: tell you a story, explain a process. If you see vocab words for the headings, otherwise called section headings, then you can guess, yeah, this is probably just going to describe something for me. Let's do a little bit of practice. So this first one, I'll help you out with. The rise of Greece is our first heading, and underneath that, we have a subheading that says defeating Persia in 500 BC. Okay, you'll notice here we've got a date. Let's go down a little bit. We've got another date down here. So just by looking at these two things, we can guess that the purpose of this is to tell us a story, because it has dates. Okay, this one I'd like you guys to do on your own. Here is our heading that we open up to. It says types of cars, and then has subheadings that say vans, trucks, and sports cars. Is the purpose of this to tell us a story, explain the process, or to inform/describe? Go ahead and write your answer. Now, here's the issue. What if you don't understand all the terms in the table of contents, or in the article, or the textbook? Well, that's okay. We can still use these skills to kind of try to guess. Now, I would be delighted and surprised if you guys knew this word. If you don't, you should look it up later. But this is the word I chose to be sort of a confusing vocab term. Defenestration in 1300. The first defenestrator, the defenestration of H.J. Smith. Okay, let's take a look. Right here, we've got a date. We also have the word first. Now, this could mean that this is going to describe a process, because it could be something like the first step, the first fenestrator. We're not really sure what this means. Let's go down a little bit more. Okay, we've got a name. That's not super helpful. Okay, we've got another date, and then a date after that. And it looks like they are all in numerical order. They come one after another. That can tell us that this is going to be telling us a story. Let's move on. Okay, this one I'd like you guys to try to figure out yourself. This is just another word I made up. Is this telling us a story? Is this describing a process? Or is this informing/describing something? Alright, this last one and then we'll move on. Argus Greenfellow, birth in 1678, childhood. Well, I'll let you read the rest of it. Is this informing us about something, describing something? Is it telling us a process? Or is it telling us a story?